We've got an incredible group of people to speak, and so I'm going to keep my comments short, but I want to just give a brief overview, a history. These last 8 years have been unbelievable. It's all happened so fast, and you've been such a big part of that. We came in June of '08. We went to the public markets in November of '08. We got a stock out, which gave us capital. We brought the capital back to Phoenix, $254 million when we were nearly bankrupt. We put that $254 million to work. We put $100 million into technology. We built the largest platform to deliver education online to working adult students all over the world. And that program started to grow. Today we have 65,000 students in that program. That program was profitable. That happened in 2008 and 2009. In 2010, we knew that we were going to be able to invest $1 billion in building a campus. No taxpayer dollars, all our own cash reserves. And we started to build our campus out here at 33rd Avenue in Camelback. In the last 6 years, we put $900 million into that campus. Classrooms, laboratories, residence halls, restaurants, athletic facilities, theater, and other facilities. It is now an incredibly beautiful campus and has grown from about 900 students 8 years ago till today 17,500 students. That campus is going to grow from 17,500 students to almost 30,000 students in the next 5 to 6 years. 60% of those students will be from Arizona. Our online campus is at 65,000 students. It's going to grow about 7 percentage points a year, and so 5, 6 years from now, there'll be 90,000 students studying mainly at the graduate level in our online program. That was 2010. 2012, we took a look around us at how God was blessing this thing. And we said, you know what, we've got to put together a plan to bless the community. It was a big decision not to move the campus to Scottsdale, Paradise Valley, or any of those places. This was really one of the worst crime areas in Phoenix in 2010. And it was at that point that we said that's going to be part of our Christian mission. We are going to use this neighborhood as our greater cause, the greater good that we would be a part of. And so we started by creating jobs. We had a relationship with Love International, which is a great congregation just north of here. They started identifying people who live in the neighborhood, who have good character and would want to work at Grand Canyon in entry-level positions. And we started hiring people. It's important because they get a salary, they get benefits, but their kids can go to college for free here. That's a great reason to live in this neighborhood. The second thing we did is we went to the City of Phoenix Police and we signed a $1 million contract with the City of Phoenix Police. That started 4 years ago. That contract has produced incredible results. Commander Robinson is here. Thank you very much, sir. But crime is on the way down in this neighborhood. We will re-up that contract and keep this thing going. Our campus is very safe, but we want the neighborhood safe. The third thing we did is we signed a big contract with Habitat for Humanity. It's the largest contract that Habitat has in the world. It was our goal to rehab 700 homes in 5 years. This last weekend, we did 11 more, and so we have 120 now done. We're moving towards 700 homes being redone in our neighborhood. Housing values are up in this neighborhood now 30%. Year over year, more than any neighborhood in the valley. That's truly a miracle. With crime going down and housing values going up, this neighborhood is on the move again. And so, number 4, the public schools. People thought we were going to build charter schools, and we said, no, we're not going to build charter schools, but we're very, very interested in getting behind the public schools. We started a public school program with Alhambra High School 4 years ago. That program has exploded. We now have 1,200 students offering one-on-one tutoring and mentoring services to over 55 schools in our neighborhood. Alhambra High School has exploded. In fact, they just won 2 weeks ago the Gold Award for Beat the Odds. There's only 7 schools in the state that got that award. Alhambra got it. Claudio, Karen, congratulations. And so things are on the move here. It's been an incredible transformation these last 8 years. 2 years ago, we went to Elliott Pollock and we said, this is very different. We're a publicly traded company. We have investors. We have to produce a return. It's a very different way to think about providing funding for higher education. But it's working way beyond what we thought it could be. And so we asked him to do an economic impact study of the university, but also of this 37 acres. This place was a nightmare for the City of Phoenix Police. It was a big empty lot. It was a hotel. There was a sex shop. There were pimps, prostitutes, and drug dealers every day and every night at this location. We are going to put $100 million into this. We haven't done it yet, but we're in the process of putting $100 million into it, and we'll get a very good return on that. But it has completely changed the entry into the West Side because this facility is now here. And so Elliott Pollock is here, and I'd like to ask him to come forward and share the results of his study. Please welcome Elliott Pollock.
I want to tell you that I've been in Phoenix since 1964, and this campus is one of the most amazing transitions I've seen in that entire period of time. Let me start by saying that education, higher education in general, is what's called an anchor institution in terms of economic development. They're highly involved in the community. They provide significant employment opportunities and the opportunity for higher wages. They purchase large quantities of local goods, and they contribute to the intellectual talent pool. And GCU is a significant anchor institution for Greater Phoenix and the state, and they have essentially not only provided high-quality education for a large number of students, but they've been a significant catalyst to investment vis-a-vis the campus, and a primary focus of essentially the redevelopment of this whole area that might otherwise have been a little more difficult to follow. All this has been done without 1 cent of taxpayer money, which for a higher education institution is really unusual. And GCU is also what an economist calls a base industry. A base industry brings money in from the outside. Think of the ghost towns you hear about or you've seen in Arizona and the West. They became ghost towns because the reason for their existence went away. The reason the railhead moved, or the mine petered out, or there's a drought and there was no agriculture. It's money from the outside that keeps things going in a community, and GCU is bringing a large amount of money from the outside. I'll give you an example. Out of state, right now, there are about 17,500 people on the campus. 2010, there were about 3,700, and by 2019, there'll be 22,500. Of those, in 2010, there were only 382 out-of-state students. By 2019, there'll be more than 10,000 out-of-state students on the campus. That brings a tremendous amount of money from out of state. It's not that much different than a manufacturing facility when you get down to it in terms of what it does for the economy. Online will go from 37,000 in 2010 to 79,000 by 2019. Our study is essentially just of the campus. From that standpoint, we took a look at the impacts of all this construction on the campus, the operational impacts of the campus-based students and their faculty, and the student spending impacts. And what we found was the numbers are really quite staggering. In terms of construction, over that 10-year period, we're looking at more than 600 jobs a year, more than $38 million in wages a year, and an impact of about $100 million. And an annual fiscal impact, in other words, the money we pay to the state, to the county, and to the city, of more than $5 million. From the operations, it's more than 7,200 jobs and close to $800 million in economic impact, and a fiscal impact of $31 million. In terms of jobs, because of the student spending, it's about 2,600 jobs a year and about $100 million in wages and about $225 million in economic impact and $9.2 million to the state. So overall, if you take those three, essentially on an annual basis between 2010 and 2019, there'll be about 10,500 jobs a year, wages of about close to $500 million, economic output of more than $1 billion a year, and basically a fiscal impact to the state, to the county, and to the city of about $45 million a year. That's a total economic impact of more than $11 billion over that 10-year period. That's significant. Of the tax revenue paid over that 10-year period, there'll be about $300 million to the state, about $85 million to the county, and about $73 million to the city of Phoenix. And that doesn't include about $652 million paid to the federal government in the form of taxes. Now that's for the campus as a whole. Let's take a look just at this 27th Avenue facility. The 27th Avenue facility includes 2 office complexes, these 2 beautiful buildings, a renovated hotel and restaurant, and a parking garage. And they have significant impact as well. Construction is a one-time impact because the construction obviously is now done, and that created 103 jobs and about $170 million in economic impact. The ongoing operations, the continuing operations of the buildings will create 5,100 jobs, and that's direct, indirect, and induced. There'll be 2,600 people working in these buildings, but there'll be an indirect impact and an induced impact. And let me start by saying the direct impact is the people actually working on the campus. In the case of these buildings, the indirect is your suppliers, the people you buy stuff from, and the induced impact is when you go out and you get a Slurpee, or you go to a ball game, or you buy a suit at Dillard's, or you buy a car. That's the induced impact. None of that wouldn't happen if the direct impact wasn't there. So the total impact, again, is going to be from operations more than 5,000 jobs, more than $250 million in wages per year, and about $660 million in economic output. The tourist impact, because of the hotel and the restaurant, about another 100 jobs, about another $4 million in wages, and about another $10 million in economic output. So what we have in total is a fiscal impact to the state during construction of about $6 million, to the county of about $1 million, and to the city of almost $3 million. So, and the operations will produce another $5.5 million in tax revenue. So let me just close by saying that GCU is one of the true miracles that I've seen in the greater Phoenix area since I've been here in 1964. It is a major player. Is a major positive for the greater Phoenix area in terms of tax revenue, in terms of economic development, and in terms of redevelopment. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're very honored today to probably have the most pro-business governor in the country here. And so please welcome Governor Ducey. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, President Mueller. 2 days in a row at Grand Canyon are 2 good days. What a beautiful day we have here today. I want to wish everyone a good afternoon, and I want to say thank you for inviting me to celebrate the opening of your new employee center on 27th Avenue. What a beautiful project. You know, not only is this a beautiful project and a beautiful building in the heart of an extraordinary campus in what I think is the most beautiful city in the country, and I think that Mayor Stanton and Councilman Valenzuela would agree with me. But in the last 9 years, GCU's 9 campuses have grown from 900 students to a whopping 17,500 today, make it one of the fastest growing, most innovative research universities in the country. Congratulations. And today, students at GCU represent our best and brightest, from Arizona natives to students from all over the nation who come here to study, but end up staying and raising families and building careers in our great state. GCU provides Arizona families choice in higher education, from those seeking a private Christian school experience close to home, to those who come to GCU for the academic rigor and learning opportunities in over 160 undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral programs. In addition to the quality of academics, the university also performs as a key economic engine for the community it serves and for the state as a whole. We heard from Elliot some of the incredible statistics on the economic impact to the state of Arizona, and I can't emphasize that enough. In the private sector, we have a saying that when government gets out of the way and lets innovation do its work, we see business models emerge that are transformative, and in this case of GCU, very unique as well. GCU's influence in this surrounding neighborhood and school are also significant and inspiring. To see a 30% increase in home values while subsequently seeing a 30% decrease in crime is just incredible results for those of us in public policy and those of us that live in this community. And through strategic partnerships with local school systems, GCU has provided free tutoring and mentoring to low-income high school students through its Learning Lounge since 2013. As the governor of Arizona, I want to recognize GCU and President Brian Mueller and all the hardworking GCU employees and the amazing students of this faith-based organization for the ideals that you have and what you have done to revitalize this community. Once again, congratulations. In so many ways, you have enriched the lives of the people that reside right alongside you by building houses through Habitat for Humanity, by partnering with the Phoenix Police Department on a neighborhood safety initiative, and by reaching out to local schools and making college real and attainable for so many youth in our state. GCU's holistic model provides a private sector know-how and a core belief in free enterprise, with an emphasis on applied learning, and finally, a belief that as citizens, we should give as much as we take, with a clear understanding of unmet potential that exists right here in the great state of Arizona. I want to congratulate GCU. This is a true Arizona success story. And before I conclude, I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to Jerry Colangelo, Dan Marley, and the Antelopes being the NCAA basketball tournament. Lopes up. Thank you.
We have a ton of partnerships that are going on this side of town surrounding the university and what it's doing, but I will have to say that we meet every single week with the city of Phoenix, and they have been unbelievably supportive of us in making this happen. I could list 1,000 things that they do to clear the way so that we could create this. And so we invited and are honored that Mayor Stanton is here. Would you come and address the audience, please?
Well, Governor Ducey, President Mueller, Councilman Valenzuela, Mr. Colangelo, and most importantly, Havocs. We have any Havocs out here? What a great day in our city. What a great day for Grand Canyon University. As the governor said, over the past decade, this university, GCU, has had a wonderfully transformative impact on West Phoenix and our city and a valley as a whole. And under President Mueller's leadership, we have seen that this academic institution has revitalized the Canyon Corridor into a thriving neighborhood in our city. And today is another major milestone in the progress of GCU and in the vision of this university to help redevelop our city and West Phoenix. Here on the northeast corner of 27th Avenue and Camelback, we used to drive by a rundown motel, a used car lot, a swap mart. Today, we're opening a 325,000 square foot complex that includes a renovated hotel, restaurant, business innovation center that's going to be an employment center that injects hundreds of millions of dollars into our economy each year. That is on top of the $15 million in public infrastructure improvements that GCU will make to the campus and surrounding areas over the next 5 years, if not more. The economic impact of this university on our city and our state is indisputable. But for GCU, it's not just about new buildings and student enrollment, it's about being a positive catalyst for change. I am so proud of this university that puts its faith into action every single day to benefit the lives of people in the nearby neighborhood. I could not be more proud of the faculty, the leadership, and most importantly, the students of this university for caring about our city and community. That's why the City of Phoenix is proud to be a partner in this development project. In addition to this office complex, GCU and the city will work together over the next decade to continue making improvements to the surrounding infrastructure. And I want to particularly say thank you to my colleague on the City Council, Councilman Daniel Valenzuela. He is passionate in his support for GCU. Thank you, Councilman Valenzuela, for being a constant champion for our partnership with this university. As a result of working so closely together, you'll see new traffic signals, ADA-compliant sidewalk ramps, streetscape improvements, the widening of Coulter Avenue, and so much more. When it comes to public-private partnerships, Phoenix couldn't ask for a better partner than GCU. Each year we're seeing results: more jobs, more STEM graduates, more entrepreneurs, more construction, higher home values, safer neighborhoods, an incredible athletic program here at the university, which includes that amazing basketball team, so much more. Thank you for all your hard work on this project, what you do for our city and the surrounding neighborhoods. Lopes up.
It was already mentioned, but one of the dynamic, up-and-coming political leaders and a real servant leader in Arizona today, our local councilman, who's been a tremendous supporter and partner of ours. Please welcome Daniel Valenzuela.
All right, President Mueller, thank you so much. You know, as a West Phoenix kid, this is really special for me on so many levels. When I first came to the City Council about 5 years ago, the mayor and my friend, Greg Stanton, asked me to chair the subcommittee for downtown aviation, economic development. It gave me an opportunity to see firsthand how these partnerships work in a place like downtown Phoenix. It gave me a chance to contribute. It gave me a chance to learn. And I tell people that if you haven't seen downtown Phoenix in, say, the past 5 years, then you haven't seen downtown Phoenix. It's this intersection where opportunity meets with education and infrastructure. $4 billion invested in downtown Phoenix projects in just the last 4 years. 72,000 people come into work every day in a 1 mile radius around City Hall. But I also remind people that if they missed that renaissance, if they passed through that intersection without taking a breath, then not to worry. Just continue going west, and you will arrive at the modern intersection that brings infrastructure in with education and opportunity, and that intersection that is Grand Canyon University. And again, as a West Phoenix kid, this means so much to me because I grew up in these neighborhoods. And working with President Mueller and his entire team on issues like, more than just zoning issues, obviously, but public safety issues, issues in how we get people back to work, things that will move this neighborhood forward, which will help move our city forward, and we heard from our governor, move our state forward. And it's happening in these very neighborhoods. And I want to say thank you to President Mueller and his entire team, because what you've been able to do in not just growing the nation's fastest growing university, that is GCU, but you're bringing a culture with you. You're helping to develop a culture. The governor talked about Habitat for Humanity. That's just one of the many programs that was mentioned by the governor, and you're bringing a culture. This is, and I will say this, and I say this publicly, and I say this every opportunity I get, this is the most civically minded student body that we have, as far as I'm concerned, in the nation, but certainly the state. And I'm proud to say that as a Phoenix product, as a West Phoenix product, and as someone with children myself. So this is a big day for all of us. Brian's not going to let me I'm saying all these nice things because I forgot my purple tie. But I love the purple, all the purple that we see out there. Again, congratulations to President Mueller, to his entire team, and to all of the residents, especially here of West Phoenix, because we continue to move forward. Lopes up.
One of the things that we're trying to do here is get kids really excited about free enterprise, about the free markets being the economic system that has brought more people out of poverty than any other in the world. And so we wanted somebody that would give our business program a vision and that would come and energize the business program. It was an incredible opportunity and incredible good fortune for us that Mr. Colangelo, Jerry Colangelo, agreed to come and be part of the university, but especially when he said, I will take over the business program and I will create a new vision for that program. And he's not just a visionary. He's on our campus once or twice a week, and he's speaking to our students, and he's an unbelievable role model. So for us to have him is in tremendous good fortune. So, Mr. Colangelo, would you come up and say a few words, please?
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for all coming today. Governor Ducey, Mayor Stanton, Councilman Valenzuela. And looking at this crowd, it's kind of sends chills up and down your spine to see what's really transpired here in just this short period of time. I'm not going to go over the history. I would just say the following. This is not only one of the great stories in our state, business stories in our state, and educational stories. It's that way worldwide, certainly in this country. That's how important this effort has been in the accomplishments that have taken place. In terms of the business school, the growth has been amazing, just like all the numbers you heard. We have about 12,000 students in our business school, 9,000 online, 3,000 on campus, and it's going to continue to grow. But it's not just about numbers, it's about quality. It's about teaching those students the realities of the business world, and that can only come from experience. And so by bringing in the kinds of people who have been successful, those who have failed and gotten up and been successful a second time and a third time, you'll learn what it's really all about. And so for me, kind of falling in the line of, well, Doug followed me because of age, I'll have to put it that way. Being an entrepreneur and really believing in the system of, in this country and only in this country, can you make something of yourself if you're willing and committed to being the very best that you could be. That's what we want to inspire our students in every curriculum, but certainly in the business school, give them experiences, get the proper education, expose them to all kinds of opportunities, and to really be a place where corporate America looks to find the kinds of people they want to employ. And so we're striving for success, we're striving for excellence, and this hospitality program within our business school was something that I thought was really important. It's still one of the big industries in our state. And so to have this hospitality program, which I see growing considerably over a period of time, I think we can make a big impact. Another thing that I think we're really blessed with, and that's the leadership of Brian Mueller. When he approached me originally, I sensed someone who really had a vision, he had a plan, and so to see this being executed has been a real fun experience for me. And so I've kind of I'm reliving my life a little bit in terms of that process And so here it is in living color, mostly purple. And that's one of my favorite colors, by the way. The other one was orange, purple and orange. And so I want to congratulate all of the people who are part of this great university, really making an impact in this community and across the nation, and want to encourage everyone to keep the faith as it relates to our future economy. We'll take care of the business school and hopefully the basketball team. And all we need is a couple more players, or we're only a player away. You should hear that from everyone in the game. They all think they're pretty much competitive. They just need one more player. I'll take two. If we can get two, we're going to be in business next year. So thank you for allowing me to be part of this family. And that's what it is. It's a family. And look forward to seeing you on campus. Take care.
Mr. Colangelo, Governor Ducey, Mayor Stanton, Councilman Valenzuela, Elliott Pollock, thank you very, very much for being here today. This is a big day for us, and your presence says a lot. And I know that it's very appreciated by the people that are here. Second, a lot of us that are wearing purple today have been working together for sometimes as many as 30 years. And we've enjoyed each other's company. We've enjoyed working together, and it's been an incredible experience. I will have to tell you that I know it says frequently, but there isn't a more committed group of faculty, a more committed group of staff anywhere in any business in the country than this one. This would not have happened without your willingness to come here and work hard every single day, work together every single day to create programs and to service students. And so thank you for being here, but thank you for everything that you've done these last 8 years. And the last thing I want to say is, when we came here 8 years ago, we thought things would go well for us, even though this was a big risk. It's gone way above what we thought could happen, which means God has his hand on this place in an incredible way. These things don't happen without his presence, and we know that. Our job now is to stay humble, to work hard, to give it our best effort, and to keep this thing going. Of everything that goes on here, the thing that's most encouraging is to watch hundreds and thousands of our students every single day, every single week, every single month pour into this community and take part in its transformation. What I say to our students when I speak to them now, one of my single biggest hopes is that you'll graduate, you'll go off and get a tremendous career going, you'll drive back through this neighborhood in 10 years and say, I was a student when this happened, and this shaped who I am as a person. I believe in what people who have strength, but who have faith, and who are willing to work together and form partnerships. I experienced that when I was here as a student. I was a part of it, and it shaped who I am.